All right, Justin, Aaron Keller himself said that the team is looking at potential changes to Sojourn, Doomfist, Ramontra, Roadhog, and Tracer, with planned balance changes coming later this week. Well, according to my watch, it is Monday, meaning later this week, probably the end of the week, maybe Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday, we'll get some information on changes. Now, will we get an early balance cycle, or will they just express the changes and then we get a mid-season cycle? Who knows? If they've been listening, if they're ready to put Overwatch at the top, what they're gonna do, fingers crossed, oh my god, please, fingers crossed, is make it a fast patch. They do not wait it out. Roadhog is running rampant. It was my video that went up earlier. Most of you agree. Just gone crazy. It is in shambles. Now, let's dissect it a little bit more. Changes to Sojourn. Okay, this is great. They did try to change Sojourn, but still very prominent. Some people even saying stronger. What can they do? Probably just straight up tone down the numbers a little bit more. Would make a lot more sense. She still charges that ray gun way too freaking much. Ray gun, oopsies. Railgun, way too freaking much. Doomfist, again, running rampant. Toning down his numbers will most likely do the best, because in the end, they shouldn't just revert him. He was useless, then he became too strong. Just tone the numbers down. Maybe somewhere in the middle, maybe towards the buff side just a slight little bit to make sure he stays prominent for the meta, but not dominant, right? Prominent, but not dominant. Ramontra, buff him. Well. See, this is the dilemma. I want to say buff him because Ramontra isn't very strong. He's underwhelming. A lot of the pros are playing Ramontra in a poke and defend style, which is not where we want Overwatch to be. That's where it gets boring. And I'm very scared, though, to say buff him, because if they, let's say, just straight up make his secondary mode, right, his tank mode, aggressive, let's say his punches come out further, let's say they deal more damage, both of which would be pretty good for him, and he gets too strong, that slip up is terrible, because a lot of people, including me, don't own Ramontra. I didn't buy the Battle Pass, even though I'm a content creator, and maybe I should just to make some content. I didn't. I don't really want to. I don't like the idea of it. I'm not very supportive of it, and I already know that I can get Ramontra next season just by doing a few easy tasks, you know? So I don't really want to pay for him, or maybe I'll just grind him out and get him this season if I play enough. Like, I just left it up that way. However, if they make him too strong, I'm a casual player, I'll survive, but if you're playing ranked and all of a sudden Ramontra becomes dominant and you don't own him as a tank main, it's gonna suck. You're gonna feel that paywall. It's gonna slap you straight in the face, and it's just not gonna feel good. But I digress. For the health of the game, technically Ramontra is underwhelming, and I wouldn't be surprised if we see some buff, and that buff leads to cash in Blizzard's pocket. I freaking hate saying that, but like I really do see it possibly happening. The next one is also Roadhog. Of course, he needs a substantial nerf. I am a Roadhog main, even in casual. I terrorize your game. I am that dude. Yeah, I know Roadhog shouldn't be this strong. I don't know if they're gonna address his one-shot completely. I think toning it down a little bit so it doesn't one-shot everyone would be pretty good. They, of course, the problem with Roadhog is his initial kit, like the way he's built, is between that healing and that one shot. So if the one shot all of a sudden is completely gone, or you can't one shot at all anymore, unfortunately he's going to be useless. I'll most likely have to drop him. It is what it is. It's not healthy for the game. However, then at that point, maybe if the nerf does something like that, it's time to look at reworking the kit all around. That's just me. Or they could instead leave his one shot, but just make him a lot less tanky. It will mess him up off the tank roll, though, and he's going to be more like a glass cannon. So it could still become a throw pick. I don't know. Maybe I'm being a little bit biased, but no, I want him nerfed. So that's the incorrect word. I'm not being biased because I know he needs a nerf, but maybe I'm having trouble understanding what's the best way to go about it, because I feel he might be one of those heroes that's like either very strong or very weak, and he might just need a kit rework in order to be properly balanced and enjoyable all around for everyone. Like the hook is so satisfying, right? It's great, but then if you're not one-shotting, it'll become useless. Maybe they can increase the CC, but we don't want more CC in Overwatch, so you know, I'm trying to run through the ideas in my head, but I feel like all around it can be problematic, but I would love it. Like, if you guys have any ideas what you do with Roadhog, let me know, because I would love to hear it. The next one is actually Tracer. Tracer is interesting because they said that she needs a buff originally, then there was that bug, and then they held up on fixing that bug, and she felt a little bit better. But with that being said, don't get me wrong, she is an S tier, like she's meta, right? Like in the end, the biggest meta would be Doomfist, Roadhog, Sojourn, Tracer, Kiriko, Lucio. Like they're all top tier. They're in the top of the meta. But I do wonder what they want to do with Tracer because she was kind of not very prominent. Then there was a bug, then they buffed her, and now she became very prominent. So like she's so slippery, man. Is it Overwatch? Because I just said that about Roadhog. Is it just Roadhog? Like I don't know. And I'm also a little bit upset. So here's some other thoughts I have about this. They didn't mention Junker Queen. Mind blown, especially since she has a legendary skin. That could be direct cash for you, Blizzard. But on a serious note, it's very, very terrible right now. Junker Queen is near the bottom. Very, very weak. So I have no idea why they don't want to touch her at all. There's also an argument about like Hanzo. Are they fixing that recoil issue? He's also very weak. Hammond is also very weak. I don't know. They haven't even talked about him. So like there's a lot to be addressed. And I'm glad that they're addressing the most prominent ones, mainly Doom, Road, and Sojourn. And then I guess Tracer as well, but like there's still a lot, and all this is just talk. Like by Friday, are we gonna know what the changes are? I'm still excited, but is it just that? Like, is it just what the changes are without like it being early? Are we still gonna have to wait a couple weeks for a mid-season patch? Because that's what happened last time. That is what happened last time. The patch note for Genji dropped hella early, extremely early. And everyone's like, is this real? Okay, it looks like it's real. We have most of the patch notes. And then we waited weeks and they dropped exactly how they were instead of just getting them patched in. That's like, it was bad. Oh my goodness. They got to speed it up. I hope they don't just tell us without actually implementing anything, or at least having an early date. I'll be here to cover it. But of course it doesn't really end there, because I complained about this morning. So I don't know if some of you are going to be hearing a repeat, but like, what's up with Genji? He got nerfed and it was too strong. Then they removed the DPS passive that made him strong without buffing him again. Like, they need to explain things a little bit. Like, what's going on? Because while I'm up for more sporadic and quicker changes, they only work based off of hindsight, off of some planning. The biggest issue here, for example, Doomfist has been strong for a week. If they nerf him too much, this is gonna feel terrible, right? Like right now he's too strong and it's almost obvious. It's almost obvious that they overtuned him, but they only have a week's worth of data. So the right move wouldn't be to just slash him too hard, right? It's why I even said earlier, right off the bat, nerf him, but leave him towards the buff side, because you need more data, meaning we need fast patches, but not sporadic patches, not patches that swing left and right way too much. You need patches that kind of bounce between each other by the slight. Tune the numbers, almost like a hotfix. Get them out fast so the game doesn't feel terrible, but tune them correctly. And it's just about this inconsistently. Let's say they pretend they do nerf Doomfist too aggressively. It's not only going to feel bad, but how does it look compared to Sojourn that was left for over 2 months, or Roadhog since the start of Overwatch 2? Like, you know what I mean? They have this very close fine line to balance, and they gotta balance it correctly. They got to make changes fast without just going completely overboard. You know, they can't go too freaking crazy. Of course, I'm also checking out Twitter, and I'm realizing a lot of people are worried. Like they're not happy with this tweet. They're literally not happy with this tweet because they're like, Doomfist is just good. Now you're going to nerf him, because people are afraid. What they did with Genji was good for like the finally good after years of Overwatch, and then they nerfed him and they literally haven't even mentioned him again. They haven't even talked about him. So yes, to be honest, our trust in Blizzard as a collective community is going down.